Hey guys, welcome back. Brandon here with Slingmods.com, and today we have the highly anticipated Chaser LED wheel light kit for the Polaris Slingshot. We've partnered up with our friends over at TricLED to bring you what we feel is the best wheel light kit on Mother Earth. Unlike other flimsy wheel light kits on the market, what is this, tinfoil? Oh, our kit has been developed using steel wheel rings that have been powder coated for longevity and designed specifically for the Polaris Slingshot as a simple bolt-on application. Each wheel ring features 3 rows of RGB Chaser LED strips, along with both turn signal integration for the front wheels and brake light integration for the rear wheel. These turn signal and brake light integration modules drastically increase visibility when activated for increased rider safety, following our mantra of serving both form and function. Now follow me as we walk you through the installation process. Start by breaking loose the lug nuts with your slingshot still on the ground. Then jack your driver's side up with a floor jack high enough so you can slide a jack stand underneath. And if you're not sure on how to jack up the slingshot, please be sure to reference your owner's manual on the proper jack points. Now with the slingshot safely off the ground, you can remove your lug nuts and wheels. Next, you'll need to loosen these 2 brake caliper bolts, and then remove this little screw in order to loosen the tie rod bolt. And now carefully maneuver the wheel light ring into position, then remove the tie rod bolt to get the first part of the bracket on, and then quickly put the bolt back in, followed by the top caliper bolt, and then the bottom caliper bolt. And finally, tighten them all back down to the factory torque specs. Now take your alcohol wipes and thoroughly clean the entire surface area of your wheel rings. Next, take your first LED strip and, starting at the top 12 o'clock position, peel off the first section of protected backing tape and attach it to the top of the wheel ring. And continue the same process in small sections, making sure that the LED strip borders the edge of the wheel ring evenly without going off. You'll also want to be careful when you're pressing down the LED adhesive to always press straight down in small sections or away from the parts that are not already adhered to the rings. Otherwise, you'll stretch out the protective rubber housing and be left with excess at the end of the strip. Now you have the option to offset the starting points of the LED strips slightly, or keep all 3 of them in a straight line parallel with each other at the 12 o'clock position, which will change the look and effect of the chasing LED options. We decided to keep them slightly offset, but you don't have to do it this way. Next, take your 4-into-1 splitter and attach each of the LED strips one at a time into the splitter. Then take your 41-inch extension and attach it to the other end of the splitter. A 56-inch extension is also provided to extend to the module box, but I was able to run it without any more extensions. Now carefully secure any loose wires up and out of the way from all moving parts. I found that the hole on the brake line brackets work well and don't interfere with any other parts. Then repeat the same process for the other side. You will also want to remember that these are directional chasing LED strips, so be sure to run the LED strips towards the front of the slingshot when you start adhering the LED lights. Now you'll be using one of the 152-inch extensions on the passenger side, carefully running the wires up and to the fuse block area, making sure to safely secure any and all loose wires up and out of the way. Once you get to the rear wheel, you'll only need to loosen and remove the 2 caliper bolts in order to get the rear wheel light bracket on. And finally, tighten them all back down to the factory torque specs. Now take your alcohol wipes and thoroughly clean the entire surface area of your wheel ring. You will also want to remember that these are directional chasing LED strips, so be sure to run the LED strips towards the front of the Slingshot when you start adhering the LED lights. You'll also want to be careful when you're pressing down the LED adhesive to always press straight down in small sections or away from the parts that are not already adhered to the rings. Otherwise, you'll stretch out the protective rubber housing and be left with excess at the end of the strip. Once again, connect the LED strips to the 4-into-1 splitter. Followed by the other 152-inch extension to the single end of the splitter. Now carefully secure any loose wires up and out of the way from all moving parts. I found that the brake line brackets work well and don't interfere with any other parts. Run the other end of the extension up to the fuse block area at the front of the Slingshot. Next, you can put your wheels back on, followed by your lug nuts. And lower it back on the ground, where you can then torque your lugs down to their factory settings using the star pattern. Now take your main module box, and if you already have the chasing halos or underglow kits, you'll need to swap out your current module for this new one and plug in each of the light kits to the corresponding inputs on the new module box. Now you'll want to locate the main turn signal wire connected to your front turn signals. Peel back the black protective cover to expose the wire colors underneath, and then simply clamp the wire taps to the blue wire and crimp the tap connector to the yellow turn signal wire from the harness. Then finally connect them together, completing the turn signal connection. Now find the other yellow wire marked right turn signal and repeat on the other side. Now for the brake light integration, you'll need to remove these T40 Torx bolts in order to lower the under part of the rear deck panel to access the driver's side tail light, which is held on with these 4 bolts that also need to be removed in order to slide the tail light off. Once off, disconnect this plug and plug it into the new brake light harness, disregarding all the other dangling wires for future add-ons. Now take your red wire spool from the module box and run it towards the driver's side rear taillight, making sure to safely secure all loose wires up and out of the way. Plug in your red wire to the new open spot of the orange and clear clamp connector here. Carefully wrap that with electrical tape. Slide it back into the taillight area, leaving the new open end of the connector out to be plugged in to your taillight assembly. Now reinstall the taillight, then throw those 4 bolts back in. and put the lower under part of the rear deck panel back on with those T40 bolts. Next, take the negative ground wire from your module box and plug that into the ground input of your fuse block. Then you can take the positive end and plug that into the positive end of the fuse block. This Chaser wheel light kit can be run a la carte, or it can be integrated with your existing Chaser Halo and Underglow kit for a mind-blowing light show, all controlled from the palm of your hand. Now, our favorite thing about this mod is actually 3 mods in one. Not only do you get the fancy smancy chasing LED light show, but we've also integrated in front amber wheel light turn signals, as well as a rear wheel brake light. These turn signal and brake light features use the Chaser light strips, but run completely independent from the wheel light remote, so that even when the Chaser light show is not in use, the red brake light and amber turn signal features are still functional through the wheel light strips. Now, if you're running the wheel light show and use the turn signal lever or brake pedal, it will override that wheel's light show until you're done signaling or braking. Now let's go over the remote that controls your new wheel lights. To turn them on, simply press the A button. Then if you want to cycle forward through all the light sequences, press the A button again. Or if you want to go back to the previous light sequence, press the B button. The speed of the moving sequences can be controlled by the C button. And to turn them all off, press the D button anytime. Okay everyone, now you know what to do if this product's right for you. Head on over to slingmods.com today and grab a set of wheel lights for yourself. And don't forget to like and subscribe below to stay up to date with all the latest and greatest mods for the Polaris Slingshot. Now enjoy the light show and we'll see you on the road. These turn signal and brake light features are badass. Mic drop.